Live from New York, it's the show that does see the irony in bad boy Piston Joe Dumars suspending Draymond Green. It's first things first. We start with Draymond's suspension out for Game 3 for treating Domantas Sabonis like a bouncy castle. In the league statement, the suspension was due in part to Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts.
Yeah.
NBA executive Vice President Joe Dumars on Draymond's suspension. Here's what it comes down to. Excessive and over-the-top actions, conduct detrimental, and a repeat offender. That's what separates this, where you end up with a suspension. Take a look at the numbers. Here's Draymond the last 9 years. Most techs, 6. Most flagrant fouls.
I'm surprised he's that low.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to bring up, because we talked about this is a little bit of a reputation suspension.
Yeah.
But he has fewer flagrant fouls than Dwight Howard, who's hard to suspend because he's no longer playing domestically, CJ, Joel Embiid, Markieff Morris, and Russ.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
what does
there are
that
the
have
numbers.
to do with anything?
Well,
That's mammoth.
Okay,
thanks.
That
was good research.
Good graphic.
Unless Joe Dumars said he was being suspended because he has more flagrant fouls than anyone in the NBA, then that, with respect, that fact means nothing to me. We all know he's a repeat offender. We all know that Draymond Green, you can ask Michael Beasley, you could ask Steven Adams, you could ask LeBron James, you could ask Kyrie Irving, you could ask James Harden. There was a period of time where a discussion on these shows was, does Draymond Green not have full control over his hamstrings that just make his legs flail about in ways we've never seen from an NBA player?
It's on the board.
We have seen
He has
that.
a twitch.
We have seen multiple times in playoff games Draymond be ejected and then play Ted DiBiase to the crowd trying to play the heel and rile them up. The reason that the moment this happened, I tweeted, that is a no-brainer ejection and suspension, was, of course, in part because of his history. And Draymond should be, listen, he should be smart enough to know that his history helps him a lot, and therefore it might hurt him as well. We all agree, I think, that some of Draymond's responses to calls that he does not get teed up for, Jason Tatum would. Random other star player X would. But because with Draymond, you are so used to it and almost numb to it, he gets away with more. We've seen that. Van Gundy talked about on the broadcast and how frustrating it is for him that he thinks it's unfair. So, of course, Draymond Green should know he's going to be under the microscope for dangerous, dirty plays. And this is the toughest part for Draymond, Brew. He got outsmarted. He, for the second time in his career, in a critical playoff game, let somebody bait him. And now he's been suspended. LeBron stepped over him intentionally, and Draymond took the bait in the finals and got suspended. Domantas gave Draymond a taste of his own medicine, a little extra, and Draymond took the bait and has been suspended. So I have no sympathy here, and I think it's the obvious right call.
Domantas has been he's been playing
Draymond basketball.
Been walking that line, during this whole series.
That's right.
A lot of what you said is true. Look, in every realm of life, when you deal with your children, when employers deal with employees, the history matters. The resume matters.
And it should.
If Meta World Peace did something, it's going to be viewed differently than if LeBron James did something because of their histories. All right? Something like this. So I agree with you on that. That said, Nick, I stand by what I said yesterday. He should not have been suspended because I thought the punishment that they levied during the game was enough. Because that was not a light punishment. Number one, he was reacting to a dirty play. Now, he made it dirtier. He went dirtier, but he was reacting to a dirty play. And the guy that started it gets a technical, not even a flagrant one. And Draymond gets ejected from a close, nearly must-win playoff game with 7 minutes left. That's huge.
Yeah.
And then he gets 2 flagrant foul points. Nick, you know this. his next flagrant 2, if they advance and go on in the playoffs, he's missing another game.
I don't know if
well, they're not going to have to worry about that, luckily.
No, but perhaps. But my point is that's a serious penalty. It's not like he got off lightly during the game. So I don't think he should have been suspended. That said, when you do what he did, you put yourself at the mercy of the league. And so I agree. I'm not shedding tears for him because he's gotten away with things in the past. And now you get called in. Heck, he should have got suspended by the Warriors for punching Jordan Poole. He got away with that to some degree.
Yeah.
And so you can't cry now that you're getting, I think, an excessive penalty.
Do you think post-stomp, if he went back to the bench or kind of did a team huddle,
I think he
calmed everything down, and then in the interview, he was a little bit
interview is the key.
more savvy because when you start to say, what do you want me to do? And at the same time say, in game 1, Malik Monk grabbed my foot. Like, well, hold on. You couldn't do anything because you were grabbed? Or you're upset about game 1?
And you have to show remorse. So you have to show some remorse.
Let's be very clear here, because I know there are some folks in light years season, whether they're fans or fan media, that are just convinced, well, obviously, the league wants the Kings to advance. First of all, I didn't know this, by the way, until earlier today, but I heard Mark Spears, who's a great reporter, Brew and him go back 35 years, I would imagine.
Not quite.
But a long time. And he said that Draymond grew up with Joe Dumars, that Draymond played basketball with Joe's son, that Draymond, before he was in the league, knew Joe Dumars, and that he would imagine that Draymond calls Joe Dumars Unc. And Joe Dumars is the one whose name has to be on this statement. I'm sure Joe did not want to do this. Furthermore, while the league, I'm sure, loves all 30 of its teams equally, the league, if it were a coin flip, I think would prefer round 2 be LeBron versus Steph than potentially LeBron versus Light the Beam. And they're down 2-0, and this really hurts them. They did this because they felt they had to. And Draymond, in my opinion, forced their hand with everything you mentioned. If everything, Brew, is the same up to the stomp, and then after the stomp, he doesn't incite the crowd and do all of that. And then most importantly, at the press conference, if he says this, hey, when he's asked about it, I was really mad I got ejected because I didn't think I should. I've now seen the video. That looks way worse than I intended. He grabbed my leg. It was a fast break up court. I was trying to quickly get my foot out of there and go. That looks bad. But instead he played the victim.
Sabonis had a better apology for Draymond than Draymond had.
And he also talked to the league too. So did he? I don't know. Maybe did he show remorse in that when the league spoke to him?
His pride got the best of him.
Right. There's no question. Again, it was excessive. This was a David Stern ruling. A lot of people call Adam Silver a soft commissioner. He is kind of that. But this was a David Stern ruling where I'm not worried about the playoff ramifications. All the times he suspended the Knicks and in the Phoenix Spurs series years ago. So, yeah.
Can I ask Brew a quick question?
Yeah.
Do you think what he did with the crowd, with Adam Silver sitting 10 rows back, that put a weight on the scale at all?
Possibly. I'm not positive. But the fact is, look, and you talk about Joe Dumars. Malice at the palace. I think in a vacuum, this stuff is good. Like a player riling up the opposing fans, and them going at him, that can be good. But, Nick, you and I talked about this before the show. It only takes one unruly fan to say throw something at Draymond. And next thing you know, Draymond, probably with his pride and as riled up as he is, may go into the stands and you got another Malice at the palace. So, in a vacuum, I love players, egging on fans, Reggie Miller and Spike Lee and the whole thing.
Trae Young a couple years ago.
Yeah, that can be great for the game and for us as fans. But in this situation, it was kind of dangerous.
All right, Warriors still favored for tomorrow's game. Golden State, of course, looked like champions, Brew, when they were at home, and they will be at home. So you should feel confident.
Yeah.
The question is, do you?
You said that like I don't.
Well,
You shouldn't. Come on, buddy.
Let me.
You got a lot of off
Let's keep it real.
Take an off.
I do have an off ramp. I mean, he's one of their best players being suspended.
That's
all right. If Anthony Davis gets hurt, are you standing by? Oh, the Lakers are definitely winning the championship. So I'm just saying. I have the off ramp, but no, I'm not taking the off ramp.
Okay.
Now let me just point out. Let me point out a few things. Because I give coach an analysis.
Everyone
on this
knows
show.
that.
You're the funny guy. Nick's mean. I give the coach an analysis. All right. Here's my analysis. This is gonna be tough.
Why am I mean? I'm the smart guy.
Mean, smart. I don't know. 50-50. No, but. This is going to be tough. I mean, they are in a hole.
Yeah.
And people look at Draymond's stat line, 8, 7, and 7, and go, really? I mean, can he be all that? Yes. Draymond is all that. Look past the antics. The dude is Nick. I think he got votes for Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
I think I had him on my second team, but he may make first team all defense.
Yeah.
So he's still a plus defender, a great defender, and offensively, he is their quarterback. Steph is the best player, and everybody adjusts to Steph, but he is the quarterback on the offense. All right, and Dusty and I put together some numbers that might shock some people. Look at this. On the court, their offensive rating is 6 points better. Defensive rating is 6 points worse. His positive impact is plus 12. On a team with arguably a top 10 player all time in Steph Curry, Draymond has the biggest impact.
Can I jump in real quick?
So
he's not playing tomorrow,
I know, but I'm just pointing out this is analysis.
I know, but that hurts your
then
take.
say you don't believe
You're
him.
I believe.
Look at how they did, Brew.
I believe.
Look at the screen.
Well, Warriors in 5. Of course. Y'all playing with me. No, but really, I believe with their pedigree, Steph, a 4-time championship, Clay, a 4-time champion, that they will be able to summon the will and the performance to win a game they should not. And yes, they extend this series.
So here's the thing. Extend the series.
They win game 3.
Okay. So
that was
none of that.
What?
That was.
I'm just pointing out how tough of a mountain they have to climb.
Right. Yeah.
So when they climb it, it'll. It's on Draymond. I'll give you that.
In the foot,
well, they didn't. He did.
Well, no.
But
here, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Before I give my answer, they did kind of.
By not suspending him.
By letting the Jordan Poole thing go. Yeah.
But
I do think they lost a little bit of the moral high ground.
No doubt.
And I wonder if Kerr lost the ability to, when he saw Draymond in a lather, riling up the crowd, the ability to grab him, or not grab him, but go to him and be like, hey.
Did he ever do that? I don't know that Kerr ever did. I agree with you. They lost the moral high ground. Yeah. They should have when they didn't suspend him. So I'll give you that. But go ahead.
Can I give my answer though? Because I think they could win Game 3.
Sure.
I think that's absolutely on the board. They're favored for a reason. But literally, aside from injury, the first 2 games could not have possibly gone worse. So Draymond has been suspended, and when he comes back, we'll see if he is even his regular self. Kerr is already screwing with the rotation, benching key players because they're a bad matchup. Sacramento is up 2-0 despite shooting below their season average. They're 30% from 3 in this series. Right. It's not like, they caught fire. And this is the most glaring, ominous part. Both of these games have been tied with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And all that championship pedigree I've been hearing about has been worth a little more than the pedigree, the dog food, because Sacramento's killed them.
That wasn't bad.
Just killed them down the stretch. They've out-executed them. Yep. That's the part that if I'm the Warriors, I'm like, oh boy. These guys, through 2 games and through 82 regular season games, are better than us.
Well, I don't think they're saying that. Now, I do think there's issues. I was talking to somebody earlier in the know who said that some of their players are pouting. The young boys, Kuminga, DiVincenzo, Jordan Poole, because they're not getting minutes. And so they have some issues going there. But again, I believe in you, Wars.
That was good. That was a nice little news drop there. Somebody in the know.
Somebody in
I like it. All right, here's where we're at with Draymond's future. Spin this way into the future. Warriors did not offer him an extension. Opt in, get 27.6. Opt out, become an unrestricted free agent. So how do you think this suspension affects Draymond's future with the team?
I think he's done. I think this is the proverbial last straw. I think that, again, I feel like I have to add this disclaimer every time. I believe he's the best defensive player of his generation. I believe he's the second most important piece of a dynasty. I think he's a Hall of Famer. And the juice is no longer worth the squeeze. And it's not even debatable. You start the season by punching a teammate. And I believe he regrets it. I believe he feels bad for it, but you can't take it back. Throughout the season, the defense is below league average. That's your calling card. Your team has the hardest round one series it's ever had in this era when they've made the playoffs. Why? Because you underachieved in the regular season. Why? You couldn't win road games. Why? I don't know. Your emotional leader said, you want me to get up for March games? Give me a break. You can say that if that bill never becomes due. And now, when your team is facing its most critical game it has played, I guess since Game 4 of last year's finals, they're down 2-1. And then other than that, its most critical game in years, you're not available. You're suspended. So I just don't think, plus the salary tax, the luxury tax implications, which are insane, but nobody cares about that. I don't think he's on the team next year. I do not.
Unless they get to the Western or the finals or win the finals, he's gone. And you can make a strong argument that even if they won the championship, if he opted out, that they could decide to move on. And that we've seen that happen before. So Draymond has to really look at whether or not he should opt out. Because remember, he has control of this. He doesn't have to opt out.
But if he don't have no trade, he can opt in and get moved.
Yeah.
They can get out of the Draymond Green business.
He could get moved, but look, and a lot of teams, some teams would want him because he is a champion, and they might be close and need what he brings, but there'll be a lot of teams that don't want him. And that's what he has to look at with the
Quickly,
market.
bro, because we only have 30 seconds to go to break. If Steph goes to Bob Myers, says, next year, I want Draymond Green on this team, what do they do?
I think then you keep him.
Then he's on the team, but that has not been Steph's history.
But I don't think. Here's the other thing. I want Draymond on the team is different than I want you to give Draymond a 3-year, $100 million.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think they will make him an offer.
Why?
If he opts out, no, I think they'll make him
a very
exactly right. An offer so they can say we tried.
Yeah,
we didn't want to break it up.
offer.
He left. I think an intentionally insulting offer potentially, but
look, unless he's coming back for less money, then
that's what
we're moving on.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.